welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare early medieval Porcellus laceratus, a recipe for a roasted pork loin with asafoetida and mustard, from Vinidarius Excerpta. We start with the ingredients. We need pork loin, olive oil, garum, vinegar, honey, dates, pine nuts, and spices, asafoetida, mustard seeds, lovage, caraway, cumin, and black pepper. We grind the mustard seeds, pepper, lovage, caraway, and cumin. Grate the asafoetida. Pound about 20 grams of pine nuts and 1 date. And dilute with 2 tablespoons each of olive oil, vinegar, garum, and a little honey. If you don't have lovage, you can omit it, or substitute it with anise or fennel seeds, which were used as a substitute in ancient times, according to Pliny and Dioscorides. As always, you can replace garum with a Southeast Asian fish sauce, muria, colatura di alici, or salt. The links to the recipes for garum and muria are in the description below. We need to let the sauce sit for a while, so that the pine nuts and mustard seeds can absorb the liquid well and thicken the sauce. Vinidarius Excerpta are a short collection of recipes written after the model of De Re Cucinaria. Although we cannot be sure of the date of composition, we can determine that it was written later than the Roman cookbook, probably around the 5th or 6th century, based on the use of ingredients that are rare or absent in ancient cooking, such as cloves, saffron, and rice starch, and the simplification of some recipes. We have no information about the author, but the presence of unusual spelling variations and very peculiar grammatical errors can't be explained as forms of vulgar Latin, so we can assume that Vinidarius was not a native speaker of Latin. This recipe is called Porcellus laceratus, from lacer, which is the Latin name for silphium. Vinidarius uses lacer root and what was called lacer vivum, which is probably the fresh juice obtained from the plant. In the books by Theophrastus, Dioscorides, and Pliny, as well as in De Re Cucinaria, we find 2 main types of silphium, called Silphium particum and Silphium cyrenaicum. Silphium cyrenaicum was expensive and highly prized in the ancient world, but according to Pliny it became increasingly rare from the 1st century onward, although this is not entirely clear, as it appears twice in De Re Cucinaria, which may have been written in a later period. Silphium particum instead is described as having a taste that recalls leek. The method to prepare silphium is reported in detail by Theophrastus, as essentially identical to the one still used to prepare traditional asafoetida, which can be identified without much doubt as a surviving form of Silphium particum, based on its appearance, odor, and places of production. To learn more about meat throughout history, read our new book, Early Italian Recipes, Meat, Meatballs and Sausages, dedicated to fresh and cured meat, with recipes from the antiquity to the end of the Renaissance, accompanied by the original texts and our translations. If you're interested in ancient foods and the transition between the culinary traditions of the antiquity and the early Middle Ages, check out Ancient Roman Cooking and the Observazione Ciborum, Early Medieval Recipes at the Court of the Franks. We roast the loin in the oven and serve it with the mustard. The full translations of the Reco Cunaria and the Vinidarius Excerpta are available on our Patreon page, along with other translations of primary sources and articles on historical food. You will find all the links in the description below, as well as the links to buy us a beer and purchase our merchandise to support our work. This pork loin with mustard and asafoetida was incredibly tasty, very spicy and aromatic with Mediterranean seeds. Asafoetida gave a delicious flavor that recalled garlic, perfectly balanced by the pungency of the mustard, pepper and lovage, and the complex aroma of the blend of caraway and cumin, enriched with pine nuts and balanced by the use of two sweet ingredients, dates and honey, the intense sapidity of garum, and the sourness of vinegar. This dish would be perfect as the main course in any kind of historical banquet, whether ancient or medieval, or in a special dinner to try new, amazing ways to season roasted pork. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.